You know, I watched Blue's Clues a lot when I was a little lad, a tiny little baby. I would sit in front of the TV, chewing on glow sticks and drinking the glow stick fluid. I actually did used to do that. And I would watch Blue's Clues. Now, back in my day, there was a man named Steve who had a magic notepad, and he wrote in it with like a big oversized crayon that I don't even think was a real crayon, if I'm being honest. I don't think they even make crayons that big. And there was a little puppet dog. I think the dog was a puppet, or was it animated? I actually can't remember. And that's what I would do, right? Apparently, Steve isn't part of Blue's Clues anymore. It's been 20 or 19, 18 years or something like that since I've watched the show. I'm surprised I'm surprised it's even still on TV. But apparently, it's still going, and apparently, it's gone woke. And our boy Matt Walsh. Jesus, thank you, Zonia. That'll probably get us to the goal. Our boy Matt Walsh here is going to explain to us how Blue's Clues has gone full woke. Now, since Matt Walsh talks pretty slowly, I'm going to turn the speed up to 1.25 to make this 9 minutes and 4 seconds go by a little quicker. But let's hear how the globo-homo agenda is corrupting our children and turning them trans, or whatever he's going to argue here. Let's see if I'm correct.
You know, it's important not to idealize the past. The world during my childhood certainly wasn't perfect. The media we consumed at the time wasn't perfect either. But one thing I do remember is that children's shows were, broadly speaking, shows for children. They had childish themes and ideas and plots.
Sure.
The moral at the end of every story was always something like, sharing is good, or learning is fun.
Or, be kind and accept people. That was a pretty common theme in most kids' shows, right? Don't hate somebody or be mean to them because they're different. That was a pretty common theme in a lot of kids' shows when I was a kid, at least. Maybe, that was like, 20 years ago? 18 years ago? Somewhere between 20 and 18 years ago. I'm 21 now. When I was a little kid, a pretty common motif in a lot of kids' media was accept people for who they are and don't be mean to them because they're different. I thought I'd bring that up.
And this all made a lot of sense. The show Blue's Clues was a little bit after my time. It debuted when I was in middle school, I think, if I remember correctly. But my younger siblings were Blue's Clues fanatics, so I was exposed to the show a fair amount. During a typical episode, Blue, the cartoon dog, would decide that he wanted to, make puppets out of construction paper or something, and then he discovered that his scissors are missing. And with the help of his human friend Steve and the children watching at home, Blue would search around the house for his scissors. And then he would eventually find the scissors, and that would be the end of the episode.
Steve had big dick energy, okay? Can we find Steve from Blue's Clues here? I feel like Steve had big dick energy, okay? This guy fucked, okay? Don't let anybody convince you otherwise. This man fucked, all right? This man fucked, all right? You know he fucked. Look at him. He's fucking right now. He fucked so much. Even when they were filming the show, they just had to keep it at, they had to keep the camera from going below nipple level because underneath the camera, he was fucking. Always. He was constantly fucking. It's true. This is canonical.
Suspense, drama, sorrow, redemption. The show had it all. Or at least it had enough for the preschoolers in the audience. Because preschoolers, they don't need much from their entertainment. Innocent and simple should be the name of the game.
Yeah, kids are
and that's
stupid,
what many children's shows used to be. That's what Blue's Clues used to be. But not anymore.
Used to be.
Like so many other forms of child entertainment, Blue's Clues went from looking for his scissors to this.
Families marching one by one, hurrah, hurrah. Families marching one by one, hurrah, hurrah. This family has two mommies, they love each other so proudly, and they all go marching in the big parade. Families marching two by two, hurrah, hurrah.
Am I gonna get copyright claim for this? This is pretty bass, though. Pretty bass.
Families marching two by two, hurrah, hurrah. This family has two daddies, they love each other so proudly, and they all go marching in the big parade. Come on, friends! Families marching three by three, hurrah, hurrah. Families marching three by three, hurrah, hurrah. These papas are non-binary, they love each other so proudly, and they all
Damn.
go marching.
Even being a pro NB. Damn, okay.
In the big parade.
Yes, a non-binary disabled dolphin. And
Are we about to get an attack helicopter joke? I feel like this is a setup for an attack helicopter joke. I've never known a conservative that has this good of a setup for an attack helicopter joke that hasn't gone with it. Give it to me. Give it to me. Attack helicopter joke. Come on.
I hope you noticed the Black Lives Matter fist on the microphones. They really jammed it all in there. Yes, that is a pride parade featured on a recent episode.
Did he really not go with the attack helicopter joke? Dude, conservatives are so bad at comedy. It was given to them. Like, have you ever noticed that attack helicopter joke? The attack helicopter joke never comes about organically. Like, it's a terrible joke. It's played out and it's never funny. But, like, at the very least, there's, like, a point where maybe the attack helicopter joke could be brought up organically. But they never go for it organically. They just kind of really shove it in there, you know? They just phone it in at any chance they get. And here it was literally set up for them. A disabled non-binary dolphin was in the video that he just reacted to, and he didn't make an attack helicopter joke. He could have just said, what's next? A non-binary disabled attack helicopter? And all of his fans would be clapping like seals like, attack helicopter joke! Soy! And it would have been perfect. It would have been the perfect meme for the conservative audience. And he resisted, or he was just too stupid to come up with it.
Episode of the show Blue's Clues, a show which, again, is targeted specifically at children aged 3 to 5. The person singing is a man named Andrew Levitt, who goes by Nina West when he's on stage as a drag queen. And that's apparently not the first time that Blue's Clues has delved into LGBT propaganda. They recently released a video featuring...
I feel like even if there was an LGBT propaganda campaign or an LGBT agenda, if all that agenda was like, we should probably teach kids to be accepting of other people that are different, which has been a common motif in children's media. Even Blue's Clues has had this motif in their content for many, many years, right? Back when I was a kid, it was always usually a race, right? Because when you're a little kid, you probably don't know what race is, right? Like when I was like 3 years old, I didn't know like why different people were like a different skin color than I was, right? I know why some people were Asian, some people were black, some people were Hispanic or anything like that. You didn't understand that when you were 3 years old. You're just probably like, okay, I guess some people are like that, right? But since a lot of people might treat other people different if they look different, a lot of kids shows would have to teach kids that, hey, you'll notice that some people look different than you, and that's okay, and you should treat them equally. All this is extending that to LGBT people. Being like, hey, it's fine. If no one's hurting you, just because people look or are different than you, doesn't mean it's wrong. And that's all that this is. How harmless of a message is sent here, and yet these conservatives are still going to get mad about it. Because they have to, because that's the grift. That's the whole thing, right? Their audience wants to hear gay bad, and that's what they're going to say.
Featuring young children talking about the different pride flags and what they mean. There are, of course, many pride flags that signify many different sexual proclivities. The parade segment we just watched goes on for a while, listing many of them, starting with gay and lesbian, and then, as you saw, disabled non-binary dolphins, and then into trans and beyond. Let's watch a little more just to see how far this actually goes.
Families marching 6 by 6, hurrah, hurrah. Families marching 6 by 6, hurrah, hurrah. Ace, Bi, and Pan, grown-ups you see, can love each other so proudly. And they all go marching in the big parade. Oh, yeah!
Ace, Bi, and Pan.
Yeah.
Sound like the names of, members of a boy band or something. But no, Ace, Bi, and Pan, because it's important that 3-year-olds be taught about pansexuals. By the way, if you're wondering what ace means, I had to look that up. That's a term used for asexuals. Now, if you're wondering why asexuals, that is, people who experience no sexual attraction at all, are included in a community of people who identify themselves by their attraction to other people, and why anyone would be proud of not being attracted to other humans anyway.
Nice meme, dude. The LGBT community is about people who do not conform to typical societal expectations of sexuality and gender identity. That's the whole point of the LGBT community. That is why ace people are included in it. Asexual and aromantic people. Okay, so There is nothing. I actually genuinely believe this. Do you know why conservatives don't like gay people so much? Do you know why conservatives hate gay people so much and think it's inappropriate for children to hear about them? It's because when a conservative sees a gay couple walking down the street holding hands, right? Listen, I live in Palm Springs. See a lot of gay couples around, right? When conservatives see two dudes walking down the street holding hands, all they can imagine is later they're going to be fucking the shit out of each other, okay? Conservatives, when they see a gay couple walking down the street just holding hands like any other couple would, they can't help but imagine, which one's the top? Which one's the bottom? I wonder how tight that one's butthole is. That's all they can imagine, right? So they immediately assume that if you're walking a kid down the street and they see a gay couple, you know, walking past them, that the kid is also wondering that same thing. But guess what? It's probably not the case. There's nothing inherently sexual or inappropriate about a gay relationship. Nothing more than a straight relationship. This all falls apart when you, like, do you shield your kids' eyes when they see a man and a woman walking down the street holding hands? Of course not. Of course not. Because you don't think it's some sexual perversion. But when it's a gay couple, oh no. How do I explain that to my kid? Listen, maybe it's because I'm a degenerate coomer with balls the size of fucking baseballs. My testicles are as big as baseballs. When I nut in a girl and I pull out, she looks like an overstuffed, cream-filled donut, all right? It's insane, right? It could kill them, okay? The power of my nut could kill a woman. Just shoots right through them, through the top of their head, okay? It's true, all right? Now, since I have massive tennis ball-sized testicles, I've always been pumped full of testosterone, and my libido has always been very high. So even at a young age, I found myself having crushes on other girls in my class, okay? As far back as, like, first grade and before, I had crushes on like, the girls in my class, right? Plenty of kids have, like, a little, you know, schoolgirl crush or whatever. Don't you think it's appropriate that if there are gay kids, or even ace kids that don't feel like they're like everybody else because they don't really like anybody, don't you think it's worth explaining to them why they feel that way and what that is? Well, of course they don't. Conservatives are, as we all know, pro-child rape. Remember that, guys. Conservatives are very pro-child rape. As you all may know, conservatives have been trying to protect child marriage in this country for a very long time. Every time Democrats try to ban child marriage, conservatives come out in droves to defend it because obviously conservatives want children to be married to grown men. It's mostly young girls. They want young girls married to grown men because that's what conservatism is all about. Not to mention they try to ban any sex education to prevent kids from understanding when they're being sexually abused by an adult so that they can get help. They don't want that. They want to ban sex education. In order to make sure that these kids can't tell their parents or a trusted adult when they're being sexually abused. It does all lead down to conservatives being pedophiles at the end of the day. It really does. At the end of the day, that's really all it is.
Well, that I can't really explain. All I can say is that the LGBT umbrella has become more like a mushroom, growing and growing until it has reached now a point where it's defined not by what it is, but by what it isn't. What? The only similarity between an asexual, someone who isn't attracted to anybody, and a pansexual, someone who's attracted to everybody, is that neither are heterosexual. The point of pride for LGBT...
Yeah, because heterosexuality is the norm, while being asexual, pansexual, gay, lesbian, whatever, is not the norm. That's why it's a community. The LGBT community exists because these are groups that are outside the norm and are typically targeted by heteronormative society. Heteronormative meaning heterosexual, and normative meaning normal, or average, or common, or what is considered normal.
LGBT people these days seems to simply be that they aren't straight. It's not a gay pride parade. It's a not straight parade.
It's
all about what you aren't. It's not really about what you are. Now, this is an important fact to keep in mind, especially as we enter into what has now been deemed Pride Month. It used to be, you know, you had one part of a day, the Pride Parade, and then it was Pride Day, and then it was a week, and now it's Pride Month.
I like how he's so mad because now there's Black History Month and now there's Pride Month. So now white people, straight white people, only have 10 months out of the year. It's really hard out there for us, guys. It is really hard out there for us. We only have 10 months out of the year. The black people get 1 month, and then the gays get a month. That's 2 months that have been taken away from us from the whole year. We only have 10 months, guys. Oh, and not to mention Mother's Day. Now the women have a day. We have Father's Day. It's only, and International Women's Day. Now we've lost 2 months and 2 days. God, they're taking these months and days away from us in droves. How the hell will we survive? Us straight white men. Come on. Guys. Truly is a white straight genocide.
Many corporations and institutions will go out of their way this month, even more than they do every other month, to push this agenda onto the public and especially onto kids. Kellogg's, for example, recently unveiled a Pride cereal developed.
Do we have to do this, guys? Do we have to bring up the Alex Hirsch tweet again? Yes, these companies are trying to push the LGBT agenda. Meanwhile, Alex Hirsch, writer for Gravity Falls, a children's show on the Disney Channel, Disney tweets out, "There's room for everyone under the rainbow." And then like a pride thing, Alex Hirsch, Disney privately, cut the gay scene. We might lose precious pennies from Russia and China. Disney publicly, honk honk, we put rainbow bumper sticker on Lightning McQueen today. Consume our products, teens. It's all capitalism, baby. Matt Walsh, you like capitalism? Then you like this. You don't like this? You don't like capitalism. It's just companies doing what sells. They all switch their logos back when Pride Month ends. They don't have their Pride Month logos on their Saudi Arabian, Russian, and Chinese branches of their companies because they all want to make that yummy, yummy money.
Developed in association with the gay activist group GLAAD, the marketing campaign declares that boxes are for cereal, not people. And on the side of the box, there's a list of pronouns with a couple of blank spaces so that kids can fill in their own pronouns if they want. Ironically,
cool.
They say boxes are for cereal, not people, and then invite children to literally put themselves into a box. Indeed, the LGBT movement is all about boxes. It's all about obsessively identifying and labeling people. The last thing they want is for children to be...
And the conservative movement is all about putting people in 2 boxes. Man, woman, straight. Well, actually, it's all about putting people into only 3 boxes because it's man, woman, straight. That's it. It's all it is. How do these... Wait, hold on. Is this not breaking YouTube TOS? Like, just shit-talking gay people like this? Is this not, like, YouTube TOS? I feel like it is. YouTube doesn't give a shit if, like, whatever person is breaking their TOS is making them a lot of money. If you're a small channel and you break their TOS, or even if you don't, they'll destroy you. But if you're making them a lot of money, like Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder do, they will only actually act in their TOS when it stands to make them money. Like, if there's a lot of people complaining about it, large media outlets are picking it up and saying, why is this on your platform? Then they'll ban them. But otherwise, YouTube doesn't give a fuck.
Be free and unencumbered, able to explore the world, figure themselves out from a very young age. They say to the kids, here are the labels. Now pick one for yourself. And assume an identity that coincides with it.
Pick a label.
Of course, they'll never be honest about any of this. The fact, the absolutely undeniable, indisputable fact, which is staring us right in the face,
hit me with it,
is that the cultural powers that be really desperately want your kid to be gay or trans or some...
He's talking about the Jews, by the way. When conservatives say the powers that be or the elite, they're talking about Jewish people. He's JQing right now. That's what this is. This is JQing. It's just outright conspiracy. The powers that be want your kids to be gay and trans. It's literally just the JQ. It's the globo homo agenda argument. He's just JQing us right now. We're literally just getting the JQ. That's all this is.
Variation thereof. And they are going to do what they can to make that happen. But they won't admit it. Instead, they'll tell you that all of this, pride parades and pansexuals in schools, in shows for 3-year-olds, non-binary pronouns on cereal boxes, etc., all of this is about inviting kids to be themselves, they'll say. It's about inviting the 3-year-olds who are already trans or gay or pansexual to simply come out and live their authentic truth. Now, if you're still buying...
It's about educating young people into understanding there isn't just men, women, and straight. That gay and trans exists too, and pansexual and aromantic and ace, and all that exists too. Because if you know what these things are, and it turns out you are one of these things later in life, if you're already aware of what these things are, then you're more likely to understand it better. That's all it is. And of course, accepting people that are like that, even if you aren't. That's all it is. That's all it is.
That line, then you may be a hopeless case. I don't know what to tell you. I can't force oblivious people to use their brains if they've gotten so comfortable living without them. But for everybody else, the truth should be clear by now. This, of course, has nothing to do with inviting kids to be who they are. There are no transgender 3-year-olds or bisexual 3-year-olds or pansexual 3-year-olds.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure?
3-year-olds are not concerned with expressing their sexual identities, mostly because they don't have a sexual identity at that age.
Really? Really, Matt Walsh? There are no 3-year-olds that have crushes on other 3-year-olds. Really? Hold on. Maybe Matt Walsh is ace. Maybe Matt Walsh is ace, because I'll tell you right now, I don't remember much when I was 3, but I remember being 4, 5, and 6, and I remember, God, I had crushes on all sorts of girls that were in my class, right? When I was in kindergarten and first grade and second grade, I had my first kiss in first grade. I remember it. I remember it like it was yesterday, okay? When I was like, I must have been 6 years old, right? You'd be about, how old would you be in first grade? Like 6? I feel like it would have been 6, right? In first grade? Is that about right? About 6? Yeah, that's a good place. Okay, cool. I remember being in 6th grade, and there was this girl named, I shit you not, her name was Jasmine, like the lady in Aladdin. Her name was Jasmine, and I had a crush on her, and I was doing pretty badly in my class. I don't even remember what I was doing badly with. I don't know, multiplication, some shit like that. I was doing pretty badly in my class because I didn't really pay attention because ADHD. My mind was wandering when I was supposed to be learning. And she was pretty good at doing math and stuff like that. So the teacher had her tutor me a little bit and teach me, like, help me catch up with the schoolwork we were doing. And we ended up going behind, I believe it was an easel, because the teacher had this pop-up like whiteboard that you could write on, and it was like with like the whiteboard marker, right? And it popped up like an easel that you would paint on, but it went all the way down to the ground. And we ended up sneaking off behind this easel while she would tutor me, and every time I got a question right, she would kiss me on the mouth. And that was like the reward for getting the question right. And that's how I had my first ever kiss in first grade. So, listen, as young as first grade, I definitely knew what my sexuality was. I knew I was straight, okay? I didn't know what being straight was. I learned pretty quickly afterwards what being gay, straight, and etc. were. I didn't learn about pansexuality, bisexuality, and what being trans was until much later in my life because it just wasn't accepted at the time, and so I was never taught about it. Didn't learn about that till I was older. I mean, I grew up in the early thousands, early thousands. It wasn't until like 2010, I think, that I probably learned what being bi was, because my best friend, Sean, when I was in middle school, was like, Alex, I think I'm bi. And I was like, what's that? He's like, it's when you like girls and boys at the same time. And I was like, oh, is there like a ratio? Like, do you like both equally, or do you like prefer girls, but like you kind of like dudes? And he was like, I prefer girls, but like I kind of like dudes too, I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. Want to go home and play Minecraft? That was my response at the time, because I was raised pretty progressive, right? I was raised not to dislike gay people. Had I been raised in a conservative household, my response to that very well may have been, ew, and I would have stopped being friends with my best friend at the time, and I would have had no one to play Minecraft with. But after learning that, I promptly went home, Skyped my friend, we set up a LogMe and Hamachi Minecraft server, and we played Minecraft together every weekend. Yeah, that's basically more or less how it went. So I knew at least that my sexuality was straight, even if I didn't have the words for it, at a very young age. Maybe Matt Walsh didn't have that. Maybe it's because he has very small testicles, unlike me, and so he doesn't have a very high libido, and he doesn't have the testosterone pumping through him like I do. Because whenever there's a MILF around, my dick stands up like a magnet. It's like a compass. It points in the direction of the nearest MILF constantly. My dick is constantly pointing in the direction of the nearest MILF. Maybe he just doesn't have that. He's actually asexual and he doesn't know it, and he's forced himself to be straight, and he's living a lie his whole life. That was a long tangent, but I think it was funny.
They're concerned mostly with eating snacks and running around without their shoes on and playing with their toys. If we wanted to help them live their truth,
all kids know is run around without shoes on, eat toy, eat hot chip, and lie.
Quote unquote, that's the truth, we would help them live. This hypersexualization, this incessant propagandizing.
Being attracted to somebody is not sexualization. I'm a coomer, but even if I see a hot lady on the street, don't immediately think, damn, I wonder how tight her pussy is. I don't wonder that. Not immediately, at least. And I know kids don't usually wonder that. But, okay, I guess Matt Walsh. Maybe this is because, like I said before, when Matt Walsh sees a gay couple walking down the street, he can't help but wonder how tight their assholes are and which one's the top and which one's the bottom. He just can't help himself from imagining what the gay sex is like. He can't stop it. He can't help but imagine men having sex.
Is rather about introducing a new, quote, truth. It's about turning them into something that they would not otherwise be. And as we already covered, the identity that our most powerful cultural institutions want a child to adopt is a negative identity.
I'm really curious, what is a cultural institution? What is he even talking about? Is he talking about companies like Cheerios? What do these companies gain from making people gay? There's literally nothing. There's nothing on this fucking planet that he could come up with as an explanation for why these companies want kids to be gay. The only reason that you can come up with is the JQ. That there's the Jewish elite wants people to be gay so they can corrupt the power of the straight white man. That's all it is. He's just JQing. It's all conservatives have when it comes to their anti-gay shit. It's just the JQ, basically.
The message to the child is simple. In a way, it's simple. Be what you want to be. Mm-hmm. Be who you want to be. Mm-hmm. But don't be straight. Don't be, quote, cisgender. Don't adopt any values or worldviews or ideas that your grandparents may have held. So be whoever you want to be, just not that.
Nobody is attacking children for being straight or cis, okay? It's just not a thing that happens. Point me to where kids are being demonized for being straight or cis, please. Please, point me to that direction. Show me the Blue's Clues episode where they say don't be gay and don't be cis, or don't be straight and don't be cis.
Here are your boxes. There are a lot of boxes, but you have to choose one, and choose it early, and find your identity and your purpose in it.
Wouldn't this imply that, like, the LGBT movement would be against people who realize they're gay or trans at an older age? Wouldn't the implication of you have to put yourself into the box early mean that, like, the movement would demonize people that realize it later in life? Meanwhile, this guy has literally made multiple videos shit-talking Elliot Page and shit-talking how the left have been super supportive of Elliot Page, who realized he was trans and came out, like, in his 30s. Elliot Page is, like, 30, right? Like, in his 30s, right? I love the, like, inherent contradictions of conservatism. Elliot Page is 34 years old. Yeah, Elliot Page is 34. Yeah. The left loves Elliot Page. Super supportive. Everyone came out in droves to support him in coming out as trans. But apparently, the left isn't okay with you coming out later in life. You have to find what box you're in when you're a child. Good one, Matt.
The message. Though the people spreading that message will never be honest about it. Well, I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Matt Walsh Show.
Nice. Okay. Well, we finished that hellhole. Matt Walsh is very stupid. And listen, I'm going to take a page from Demon Mama's book here and say, there's actually a way. If you find that a YouTube video is breaking YouTube's TOS, YouTube's rules, if you so desire, there's actually a way to leave a special comment that goes directly to YouTube. Do you guys know that? You can leave a special comment that YouTube themselves can read? Let me show you how you do it. There's these 3 dots right here. and you click these 3 dots and you press this button, and it lets you leave, if you choose to do so, out of your own volition, out of your own decision, you can leave a special comment for YouTube themselves to read about what you thought of this video, if you feel so inclined. You don't need to, but of course, that is how you would do it, if you so choose. The video is called Blues Clues Goes Full On Woke, and if you want to, you can leave a special comment on this video that YouTube themselves can read. If you so choose, of course. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe, ring the bell icon, all the things. If you want to support me further, you can comment on the video. Tell me what you thought of this video. And I do appreciate the comments. I read all of them, of course, within reason, obviously. Once the video is like 4 days old, I don't read the comments as much, but I read the comments pretty often. If you want to support me financially, you can donate to me on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or pledge me on Patreon, or subscribe on Twitch. You can also Prime sub if you've got Twitch Prime. Each month you get a free sub to whatever creator you like. Sub to somebody, even if it's not me, because if you don't, then you're just wasting a free subscription every month to a streamer. You should definitely do it. Prime subs, very useful. Anyway, follow me on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and join my fan Discord through the links in the description, and have a fantastic day. Thank you for watching.